guys, it's August the 1st, 2024, and I hope everybody's having a great day today. August the 1st. Wow. And the summer's almost over. The days are getting shorter. I've noticed that it's starting to get dark again at like 8 o'clock. I was just speaking to somebody in the comments earlier this morning, and I was saying, get ready, because it's going to be pumpkin spice season again, coming up really soon. It's going to be Halloween before we know it. But, hey, I'm ready for it to cool off, so I'm about done with this heat. But today's video is going to be called Lies, Lies, and More Lies. And what I want to talk about is just the lies that we tell when we're in our addiction. Because we do. And I'm not going to say that everybody does. But I'm just going to use myself for an example, because I told a lot of lies to a lot of different people, too. You know, it wasn't just my wife that I was telling lies to. I was lying to everybody. You know, the biggest person that I was lying to was myself. I lied to myself all the time. And it's taken me all this time to figure that out. That, you know, for all that time I thought I was getting away with it. You know, or, you know, I thought that, you know, by telling a lie or you know, turning the story the way that I wanted to in order to be able to continue to drink, that I was getting away with things. But at the end of the day, I wasn't. I was just lying to myself, and I paid, you know, some pretty big, hefty consequences because of it. But today I just want to talk about the lies and, you know, what they are, you know, who I lied to, what kind of lies I told. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people out there who can relate to what I'm going to be talking about today. The first one is the lies that we tell our loved ones. You know, we lie about the amount that we're drinking, that we have a problem, you know, that we're not going to drink this weekend, or we're not going to drink this week, or whatever it is. But we tell lies to our loved ones, especially when they have concern. You know, especially when they come to us and, you know, say, I think that you might have a problem or whatever. And I'm going to get into more detail on this, but I just kind of want to start off with this right now. The lies that we tell to ourselves. I'm not going to drink tomorrow. Today is the last day. I'm only going to drink beer or wine, no liquor. You know, I'm just going to drink beers. I'm only going to have 3 beers every night. I'm only going to have 2 beers or a glass of wine or whatever it is. No more liquor. No more drugs, etc. You know, whatever it is. You know, we always have these ideas of, you know, that we're going to be able to limit and control our consumption. The lies that we tell to our bosses and our coworkers. And this is a really big one. This is something I used to do all the time. You know, I'd go to work and I would feel horrible. And people would notice, you know, they could tell that I wasn't feeling good. You know, my face would always be red. I was always dry heaving. You know, I'd have to leave the kitchen and go outside and throw up or whatever it is. And, you know, it was always something. You know, I always had an excuse. I never said, oh, I got so drunk last night, I just feel horrible. Well, maybe I did to my guys every once in a while, I'd tell them. But for the most part, it was always, I don't know what I ate yesterday. Man, something I ate was wrong, and my stomach's messed up, and I've got diarrhea, and I'm throwing up this morning. I don't know what it is. I knew what it was all along. It was because I was hungover. But, you know, I lied to my bosses and my coworkers all the time. I didn't want to admit the truth. Lying to police officers. You know, we get pulled over and we've been drinking. Or I know I would. I got pulled over a few times and I've been drinking. Police officer asked, yeah, anything to drink tonight? Oh, no, nothing. Or, yeah, I just had 1 beer earlier, that's all. I got pulled over one time. I had left work. We used to close the restaurant. It was another restaurant that I worked at, not my last place, but we used to close really late at night, I think at like 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'd gotten off work, and I was drinking a beer on the way home. And I got pulled over for speeding. I was going like 45 and 35. It was like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning or something. And I had an open container in the car. And when the police officer pulled me over, I took that beer and put it back behind my seat and kind of shoved it up underneath there. I was driving a Jeep at the time. And the police officer walked up to my car and, you know, started talking to me and told me that, you know, I was speeding. and asked if I had been drinking anything. I said, no, nothing at all. And the next thing you know, before I even knew it, 2 other police officers were on the right-hand side, or the passenger side of my car, looking in my vehicle with a flashlight. And they could see that 6-pack of beer on the floor, but they couldn't see the open container. And the cops were like, you know, you've got beer in here. And I was like, yeah, I just bought that. I'm just going home. You know, I just got off work, blah, 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 blah. And I had an open beer in there. It was almost full. And I got away with it. But, you know, lying to police officers. I've gotten stopped in roadblocks and asked if I'd been drinking, and I said no, and all kinds of stuff, you know. Lying about buying or drinking alcohol. I mean, I did this just about every single day. You know, my wife would ask me, did you buy anything today? Oh, no, nope, I didn't buy anything. You know, just have some beers here today, that's all. Or my wife asked me, have you been drinking liquor today? Nope, nope, only been drinking beer. And, you know, the thing that's crazy about it is that I've talked about this, but I watched a video of myself when I was stick fighting with my kids on like a Thanksgiving or Christmas. I don't remember what the holiday was, but I have a video of myself stick fighting with one of my kids. I looked ridiculous. My eyes were crossed. I looked like I was like crazy or something. I mean, really, I'm not kidding. And, I mean, who was I fooling? I know that she could tell. I mean, just by looking at me. I mean, it was like written all over my face. My wife knew when I was drunk, and I would lie and say, no, I haven't been doing it. Here's another big one right here. Lying to the doctor. You know, I didn't go to the doctor that much before my diagnosis, before I ended up in the hospital for the first time. I go to the doctor all the time now. As a matter of fact, I just went this morning. But, you know, the thing is that when I would go to the doctor, one of the things that would always happen when I would go is my blood pressure would be through the roof. I mean, through the roof. I don't remember what the number was, but they would always like tell me I need to go to the emergency room because my blood pressure would be so high. And when I would go, the doctor would ask me, you know, how much do you drink? And I would always say, oh, I just have a couple beers on the weekend or whatever. I was lying through my teeth. I should have just told the truth, because they probably would have, you know, been like, we probably need to do some tests. We need to take a look at this. You know, that you have a problem with drinking. You're drinking way too much. You might be causing some problems with your organs or whatever. And I might have avoided all these problems that I have right now, but I lied. I didn't want to know, for one. I just didn't want to know. But I also didn't want them to tell me that I needed to stop drinking. So I was never honest with my doctor. Anytime I went, I always lied. And here are some, like, lies that, you know, some, like, lies in detail. Like, you know, that I would often tell myself or tell other people. Especially if, like, my wife would give me a hard time about the amount of alcohol I was drinking, or one of my family members, like my mom or my dad or my brother or something like that. I would often say, oh, I'm not as bad as fill in the blank. I don't drink as bad as they do, you know. I would always compare myself to someone else, and I would find somebody who had a way worse problem than me. You know, somebody that was, you know, was in a really bad place in their life or something like that, that had hit rock bottom, and I would always say, I'm not as bad as that guy. I don't have a problem. Or I can stop whenever I want. Who was I fooling? I couldn't stop whenever I wanted. I tried so many times, never was successful. So I was lying to myself. I don't have a problem. Yeah, right. The next one is, I just like the feeling. I like the feeling that I get when I drink. You know, come on. I was addicted. I had to drink just to feel normal. It wasn't about liking the feeling. Although I did like the feeling, don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, I drank just to feel normal. Because if I didn't drink, the withdrawals, the shakes, just the negative consequences that came along whenever I would try to stop was horrible. I just really drank just to be in a state of homeostasis. I'm not hurting anyone. My drink is not affecting anybody. I would often say that. Who am I hurting by drinking? I was hurting everybody around me. I was hurting my family, my friends, my co-workers. You know, I had a lot of people that were really concerned about me, and I've put a lot of people through a lot of hell over these past couple of years. The amount of stress that I've caused to my family, the amount of stress I've caused to my friends. I have some really close friends that have been very, very worried about me, you know, because I've almost lost my life a couple times. And it was my fault. I caused those issues because I was lying to myself about my drinking and lying to others. The other one is I can still do what I've always done. You know, this isn't stopping me from doing anything. You know, I'm still going to work every single day. I'm still doing the yard work. I'm still taking care of things around the house. I'm, you know, doing XYZ. I'm still taking care of stuff. It's not affecting anything, although it actually really was. Because looking back now versus, you know, looking back then versus now, and the level of productivity that I have, even though I don't feel good a lot, it's it's crazy. You know, because I would get up in the morning and tell myself, oh, I'm going to cut the grass or do whatever, and then I can drink after that. I would start drinking while I was doing that, and then I would stop halfway through because I would start getting a buzz, and I just wanted to keep drinking. I didn't want to do that anymore. I don't miss work. That's one thing I didn't ever do. I did not miss work. I didn't call off work, ever. And I'm talking about when I would be like super hungover. Now, there were some times I missed work because I was extremely ill or I got hurt really bad or something, because I did get injured pretty bad a couple times. But I often told myself, because I didn't miss work and I went to work every day, I never called off, that I didn't have an issue. Even though all the way in the back of my mind, I knew that I was an alcoholic. I just didn't want to admit it. Here's another one, and this is one that I told myself early in my drinking, was that I don't drink in the morning, so I don't have a problem. Now, that lasted for a few years, but when I got around 30 years old, I'm almost 45 now, but when I got about 30, I started drinking in the morning. Somebody had told me about hair of the dog and said, you know, hair of the dog will fix a hangover. I tried it. Man, it worked. And from that day forward, I never looked back. Every morning I drank 2 Advil and a couple beers or a mixed drink, and that's how I got my day started. You know, most people get up in the morning, make themselves a nice hot cup of coffee, you know, or have an energy drink or something and some breakfast. No, not me. I got up in the morning, took 2 Advil, you know, some Tums, and started drinking just to get the shakes to go away. I still have my job, so I don't have a problem. You know, I never was fired from any of my jobs, ever. Never got caught drinking at work, never got caught being drunk at work, you know, coming in like that, anything. So I had this idea, you know, I've never been fired, never gotten in trouble for it, so I don't have a problem. But I knew deep down inside that I did. And I'm really lucky that I didn't get in trouble for it, because I did show up to work intoxicated a bunch of times and drink at work as well. It's too many times. Here's one, and this doesn't apply to me, but my kids don't know my problem, or my kids don't know how much I'm drinking, so I don't have a problem. My kids knew how much I drank. They saw it all the time. They saw their dad was intoxicated all the time, so that doesn't apply to me. But that you know, that's one of the ones that, you know, people will tell. I'm really stressed out, and this is how I cope with my stress. Everybody's got stress in their life. It doesn't matter who you are, you know, and it's all relative as well. You know, what might be stressful for one person might not be for another because they've been through more or whatever. You know, even people who are extremely wealthy, they have a lot of problems as well. It's relative to our own life. But we all have stress. We can't use alcohol or any kind of substance as an excuse, as a way to de-stress. You know, life is full of stress. It is what it is. And once we get sober, you know, we have to figure out ways to work around that. And there are ways, you know, there's breathing exercises, there's just dealing with it, exercising, staying busy, reading a book, watching a movie. I mean, there are a bunch of things that we can do, but life is full of stress, and we're not getting away from it. The only way we're getting away from stress is when they put us in the ground. That's it. we're going to continue, as long as we're alive, we're going to have stress, and drinking and using any other substance is not an excuse for that. You know, it's the stress isn't going to go anywhere. So that it's just, you know, that's one I used to say all the time. I'm not saying I didn't, because I did. I absolutely did. You know, I'd always say, I have one of the most stressful jobs there is, you know, being a chef. Although there's tons of other jobs that are more stressful than that out there. It's just what I used to say. You know, and I would look it up, you know, the top stressful jobs in the world, and, you know, restaurant employees were one of them. You know, doctors, firefighters, whatever. And I would often say, oh, I've got one of the most stressful jobs there is, so, you know, I deserve to drink. Man, get out of here. There's people out there with way more stressful jobs than me, and way more dangerous than what I was doing. You know, my hat goes off to anybody that serves in the military, or police officers, or EMTs, or any of that stuff. You know, thank everybody for their service. Y'all have way more stressful jobs than I ever did. And, you know, I'm sitting here using that as an excuse. Who was I kidding? We lie to avoid confrontation, because we don't want to get into an argument. We don't want to go through it that day, you know, so we just lie. There were so many times that, you know, my wife would bring something to my attention, and I would just lie to her because I didn't want to fight that day. You know, I was already starting to feel good, and the last thing I wanted to do was ruin my buzz by getting into an argument with her because, you know, she asked me to tell her the truth. And I wasn't going to tell her the truth. I wasn't going to get into it with her that day. I would just lie. And then I would sit there and wonder why she didn't trust me. You know, it's just crazy looking back on all this stuff now. You know, the lie where I'm just going to drink on this weekend and not the rest of the week. So I'm just going to be a weekend drinker. You know, I'm only going to drink on Saturday or Friday and Saturday. That's it. I'm only going to drink on the weekends. That never worked. And I always continue to drink. You know, I would tell my wife, I'm only going to drink on Friday and Saturday, and I'm just going to drink beer. I always had liquor hidden or stashed somewhere, and I was always sneaking off to the garage, and, you know, I had it stashed in the toolbox or in an old pair of shoes or wherever the heck it was, and I would be in there grabbing my bottle, taking swigs from it, and pretending like I wasn't drinking. Another big one right here. I didn't buy any alcohol. Come on. You know, and I thought I was being so sneaky because I wasn't using our debit card, and I was doing all these things, and it flies. But I was doing all this stuff, you know, to get around being caught. And then, you know, I would lie. But I was walking around with, you know, crazy eyes and slurring my words and stumbling around and bumping into walls and all this kind of stuff. I mean, who was I fooling? I wasn't fooling anyone. I can't read mine right in here on this last one. But anyway, I mean, those are, you know, a bunch of the lies that we do, that we tell ourselves and we tell others, or at least the ones that I told. And I wasn't fooling anybody but myself. And at the end of the day, like I said, we are only lying to ourselves when we're doing that. You know, and the best thing that we can do is just be honest. You know, if you're in the middle of your addiction and you're continuing to still drink or do whatever, just be honest with yourself first. You know, that's the most important thing. And then try to start being honest with other people. Because when you do that, first of all, you're being honest. And, you know, it's better to be honest. But second of all, you don't have to worry about covering up your lies anymore. You know, it's over. You know, you don't have to stop and pause and think, oh no, did I tell my story right? Or did I just, you know, give myself up by saying that, or whatever it is. When we're honest, we don't have to worry about anything. You know, we can tell whatever story or talk to whoever we want to. We don't have to backtrack. We don't have to think about what we're saying. Anything that we say is the truth, and it doesn't matter anymore. And people will start to trust us again. You know, the thing is that when we tell ourselves lies and we tell other people's lies, we start to lose trust. And, you know, the thing about trust is that trust is one of those things that takes a lifetime to build, and it takes a second to lose. But we can reestablish trust with others. And I know it's frustrating. I know. because I'm still trying to reestablish the trust in my wife to this day. You know, and I think that she trusts me, you know, for the most part, she does. But I think in the back of her mind, she still has that little bit of, you know, that little thought that, is he actually telling me the truth or whatever? And I can't blame her for that, because I lied to her for so many years. But it's taken time, and over this period of time, you know, this, you know, 2 years and some change, you know, we've established more trust, and I'm completely honest with her about everything. And especially when I'm having cravings, or I'm thinking about alcohol or whatever, I'll just tell her, you know, hey, I'm really struggling today. I'm really thinking about this a lot. And, you know, if she wants me to go somewhere with her and I just don't feel comfortable leaving the house that day because the cravings are so bad and I'm just worried about going somewhere, I'll just tell her the truth and say, today's not the day for me. I'm really having a hard time today. I'm struggling. You know, and the thing is that she appreciates that so much more than me just telling her a lie because, you know, I want to protect her or protect myself or whatever it is. You know, the trust can be reestablished. And I know it's frustrating, but just give it some time. But by telling the truth and not lying anymore, you know, our lives do improve so much. And over time, we can rebuild that trust with our loved ones, our friends, our family, our spouses, our children, whoever it is. We can rebuild that trust, but we have to start telling the truth. And we have to start telling it now. But let me know in the comments what lies I missed out on. I'm sure there are some. And, you know, I thought about this all morning today, and this is what I came up with, stuff that I would say. But I'd love to hear from you guys, because I know I missed some things. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I really do appreciate it. I will be doing the live video tomorrow. I have some stuff going on my family this weekend, so I'm not going to do the live on Saturday or Sunday. I'm going to go ahead and do it tomorrow. I'm going to do it in the afternoon. I think I'm going to do the live around... let's say 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon will be the live, Eastern Standard Time. I know everybody can't make it. I know there's going to be people at work or whatnot. But if you are at work, I'd love for you just to hop in and just listen. Or, you know, you could turn it on at your desk and hang out or whatever. You know, the last live that I did last weekend was the biggest one that we've had yet so far. There were a bunch of people on there, and it was a great time. I'm gonna hang out probably for about an hour and a half, 2 hours tomorrow. So if you can't make it right at 3, whenever you can hop on there, just try to hop on. You know, just come looking for it. I will post up a reminder tomorrow morning that there's going to be the live. So you can go ahead and sign up to wait for it. And when you do that, it'll let you know when it's about to start or when it has started. But I will go ahead and put that reminder up tomorrow morning for everyone. I might do it this afternoon. It just depends on what I have going on. But I'll have that reminder up. You can go ahead and click it to remind you for later. And I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. It's always a really good time in the live. And for all you new subscribers out there, if you haven't been on one of the live videos yet, I'd love to have you there. I'd love to chat with you guys. It's always a really, really good time. You know, it's just really an open conversation. We talk about whatever. And, you know, it's totally fine, you know, to ask me whatever you like. You know, if I'm not comfortable answering something, I'm just going to say, I don't want to answer that. And that's all, you know, I'm not going to be rude about it or anything like that. So anyway, hope to see everybody there tomorrow that can make it at 3 o'clock tomorrow for the live. And once again, thank you so much for watching today's video, guys. I really do appreciate it. You guys are so awesome. I love y'all so much. And until tomorrow, I will see y'all then. Y'all have a great day. Bye.